Alright, the thing is, I didn't expect myself to be making this video that I'm about to make right now, but I guess I am going to be making this video. And it's basically going to be a reaction video to Ali Abdaal's latest video about his life update and the different things I learned. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and yeah, it's going to be a pretty long one, so grab something to drink or grab something to eat. I'll try and also link some timestamps in the description, so if you don't have much time, then you can skip to the parts which you find interesting. So yeah, let's hop straight into the video reaction.
Hey friends, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Ali, I'm a doctor turned entrepreneur, and I'm the author of this book, Feel Good Productivity, which is about how to do more of the things that matter to you in a way that's enjoyable, meaningful, and sustainable. But this video is not about anything to do with productivity. This is a bit of a roundly life update type video. So, I like to do these videos every few months, every 6 to 12 months, and I think we are now due a life update because lots of things are changing in my life. And so I want to talk through some of the ways in which I'm thinking about my YouTube channel and my business in my life. And I want to share some of the thoughts and lessons and stuff that I've learned over the last, let's say, 6 months of continuing to be a sort of YouTube entrepreneur and now author type person, and how that interfaces with, like, I don't know, happiness and meaning and fulfillment and all of the fun stuff. This is probably going to be a pretty long video. Please don't feel like you have to watch all of it or any of it.
Alright, so if you didn't know, Ali Abdaal is one of the YouTubers that I watch, which really heavily focuses on productivity tips, and he used to be a medical doctor in Cambridge. Just a little quick thing about Ali.
There'll be timestamps down in the video description of the different sections if you feel like watching along. But the first thing I wanted to talk about was the fact that I am doing a bit of an experiment, in that I am planning for the next 12 months at least to travel around the world and live life as a digital nomad. So I've moved out of my place in London. I have given away and or sold all of my worldly possessions pretty much, and condensed down to a single suitcase and a backpack. And that has all my stuff in it, including my camera gear, my tech stuff, my clothes, and that's pretty much all I'm carrying with me. And I'm filming this right now from Tulum, which is a town/city in Mexico. And I've been here for like a day. So far in the last month and a bit, been to New York, been to Toronto, Austin, Colorado, LA, Morocco, and I was just in Cabo, which is also Mexico. And so it's been a bit of a wild goose chase in terms of the travels. The intention was to do slow traveling as a digital nomad. I've read so many things from people who have done the digital nomad thing, and they all say that, you know, it's good to spend at least a month, preferably 2, maybe even 3 in a place at a time. And so I was kind of thinking that, great, I'll spend a couple of months in Austin, a couple of months in LA to see what those places are like, and I've got a bunch of friends there. But then random stuff kept on popping up in terms of random opportunities. Like, you know, Spotify invited us to go to New York to film with their CEO, Daniel Ek. So we were like, cool, let's do that. And there was this retreat in Colorado that I was invited to, so I was like, cool, let's do that. Then we decided to do a team retreat in Morocco. Then I was invited to this mastermind thing in Cabo. Basically, Crimea River, but it's been quite a lot of traveling. And part of it has also been kind of doing some stuff for the book tour, book launchy type stuff. This book is launching on the 26th of December in the US and the 28th of December around the world. And so I've been going around the country, well, the US and bits of the UK mostly, doing interviews for other people's podcasts and stuff, because that's the thing that you should do when you're about to launch a book. But it's been a super fun start to the year of nomading. And this is kind of a distinct season of my life. And I want to just sort of talk through what have been the season so far, and this might be potentially interesting as context for fellow aspiring entrepreneurs, because it's useful to see just like how long the journey is. I've been doing this for like over 6 years now. So I've got some numbers here. So basically I started my YouTube channel in 2017. That was when I was a final year medical student at Cambridge University. And I started vlogging about life as a medical student and sharing videos with a janky camera setup about how to get into medical school. And in those 6 months, from June to December of 2017, the channel grew to around 2,381 subscribers and was making literally no money. In fact, I lost money because I was investing in all this camera gear and stuff. And then I continued YouTube in 2018, and 2018 was when I graduated from medical school and started working full-time as a doctor, and I was living in Cambridge at the time. And so I continued making videos about medical school, started making videos about studying for exams, stumbled into making videos about tech and how I use my iPad. And by the end of 2018, which was, 6 months of university and then 6 months of working as a doctor, the channel had grown to 125,000 subscribers, and that year made around $24,000 of revenue, which was pretty good. And I was like, damn,
That's a really interesting thing to be looking at. If we just recall the timestamps for this channel, it's currently mid of December and we're in about 280 something subscribers, so really like 10 times less than Ali Abdaal. But it's actually really interesting to actually think about what type of content I'll be making down the years, as really in the beginning Ali was just journaling his day as a medical student, while I'm just also kind of like journaling my thoughts and insights and stuff. It's gonna be a really interesting journey to see where we're gonna be in like 5 years, 10 years down the line. Yeah, let me stop talking. And
this YouTube thing has started to make money and it's starting to become a little bit of a business, and I started to think of it as a bit of a side hustle type business. Then 2019, again, for the whole year, continued to work full time, and the channel by the end of 2019 grew to 488,996 subscribers, so we're nearly on 500k at this point. And that's 2.5 years into the journey, and we've just crossed the $100,000 a year mark in revenue, and that year we did 130,000 in revenue, which is pretty good. And all of this was while I was still working full-time as a doctor, and for context, my doctor salary at the time was about $40,000, like £34,000, which is about $40,000. And so my YouTube channel by the end of 2019 was making 3 times more than my annual salary as a doctor, and I was doing the YouTube thing on the side. Then 2020 happened, and again, I continued to work mostly, and then the pandemic and stuff obviously happened. And then towards the end of 2020, I took a break from full-time medicine. I was intending to go to Australia to do some emergency medicine stuff, but it was pandemic, and Australia closed their borders. And so for the final few months of 2020, I sort of accidentally became a full-time YouTuber. And again, started in 2017, so this is 3.5 years into the journey at this point. But by the end of 2020, we had grown to 1.3 million subscribers, and the business had just crossed the $1 million a year mark in revenue. So we did about $1.2 million in revenue that year, which is absolutely freaking absurd. And that was when I started to really think, I've been doing this YouTube thing for 3.5 years now. This business that I built around it, I'd started hiring a couple of team members. I had an editor and had a part-time assistant, and I had Angus, who was kind of doing some writing and other stuff. That's when I really started to feel like, you know what, there's actually potential in this thing. And I started to seriously think about leaving medicine for good, because I tried dabbling with part-time shifts working as a doctor, and it just wasn't as fun, and it wasn't as fulfilling, and I made a lot less money. And every time I was in the hospital, every half an hour I'd be saying to myself, why am I actually here? This is not the thing that brings me fulfillment. And around that time was when I started having this thing of like, what the hell do I do with my life? Because I'd been working for 8+ years to be a doctor, and I was sort of on the verge of throwing it all away. But I kind of realized that the thing that brings me fulfillment is teaching, fundamentally. And that this YouTube channel, and that was when I started writing this book as well in 2020, all of this is kind of teaching at scale and lets me learn cool stuff, synthesize it, and share it with an audience of some amount of people from around the world, which is pretty freaking cool. And the fact that I could have fun and make a living while doing it was also completely absurd. And so I thought, you know what, might as well give this a go. I can always go back to medicine if I want to, and if I need to in the future, but I would massively regret it if I didn't take advantage of this opportunity that was available to me at that point. And so I sort of became a full-time YouTuber. I launched my course, ironically, the Part-Time YouTuber Academy. I continued making videos. I started making progress in writing my book. At the end of 2021, the channel had grown to 2.5 million subscribers, and it did $4 million in revenue that year, which was completely insane, but that was the pandemic. Our courses were doing super well, and live cohort courses were all the craze. Everyone's YouTube channel blew up in the pandemic as well, when people were spending a lot of time at home. And that was when I decided that I was going to move from Cambridge to London. So I decided to move to London. We got an office, a proper studio, we expanded the team, we hired a bunch of people. And that year in 2022, we grew to 3.7 million subscribers, and we did 4.6 million in revenue. We did drop in profitability though. Like, we spent more money than I thought we would, because of kind of over-hiring and spending too much money and thinking money grows on trees. So that was a bit of a lesson in keeping the team fairly lean and keeping our expenses fairly reasonable. And so in 2022, even though we made more money, $500,000 more money than in 2021, we actually made $500,000 less profit because the costs went up by like $1 million, which was completely insane. And now we are in 2023. We're approaching the end of 2023. Right now, the channel is on 4.9 million subscribers. This year, we are on track to do 5-point-something million in revenue. Normally, I do videos breaking down how much money the channel makes, but I think I'm going to stop doing that from this year because there are so few people who are at this stage of having a YouTube channel and a business around it. And the people that are, I kind of hang out with anyway, and we talk about all these numbers and things. So there's really no need for me to continue to, I guess, be transparent about revenue numbers. There's also something about that that's like, I'm hoping to get married soon and have a family at some point in the next couple of years. And it's like, there's something around personal privacy that I'm starting to appreciate a lot more than I did when I was single and unencumbered, and I was like, what's the worst that can happen, really? But that's 2023, and I guess that I've shared all those to hopefully give you some context as to where we are in the journey right now. There are so many people that seem to follow me who are kind of want to be YouTubers or want to be entrepreneurs or are starting to grow a business.
Like me.
And it's so easy to see where someone is right now and to be like, oh my God, that person's making millions, or that person's got a big YouTube channel, or whatever the thing might be, and to not appreciate the many, many, many years that it takes to get to this point. I spent some time over the last few days with some fellow entrepreneurs who have sold their companies, some for tens of millions of dollars and some for hundreds of millions of dollars. And in every single case, it was like, they were working on that individual business for like 7 to 10 years. And then in the years before that, they were trying loads of stuff and nothing was working until they stumbled on this business idea that finally worked. Like, all of this is a very long-term game. There's this whole proliferation of people wanting to make money on the internet. And there is this myth almost, or at least this kind of weird expectation that this is a thing that happens quickly. It's not a thing that happens quickly. There was, on that note, this video is going to be all over the place, but that's okay. On that note, one of the guys I was speaking to, he sold a company for tens of millions, and he's trying to get into creating content on LinkedIn. And there was something he said that was really telling. He was like, guys, I'm looking for some tips on growing on LinkedIn. Bear in mind, I'm brand new to this. I've only been doing it for a year, and I've only been posting 5 times a week for the last year. And I thought that was very interesting. This guy is a multi-decamillionaire entrepreneur, and his approach to LinkedIn is, I've only been doing it for 1 year, and I've only been posting 5 times a week. And if I speak to most people who are not entrepreneurs or who are aspiring entrepreneurs or who have not done the entrepreneurship thing, for them, if you were to say to someone, oh yeah, you're still a beginner when you've been posting 5 times a week for a whole year, they would be like, no, that makes me a pro, right? Like, there's something around doing something for a whole year that feels like a big deal. But this guy who's in his 40s, who's like a huge entrepreneur and has done businesses in the past, fully appreciated that only having done a thing 5 times a week for a year still made him a total freaking beginner at the thing. And I just thought that was nice. That was such a sharp contrast to how certainly I would have thought about it when I was younger and before I had experience in business. But a year feels like a long time. But it's really not. A year is really a really short amount of time in the grand scheme of things. And when it comes to all of this...
Just want a quick pause for a minute, but interesting how he says a year is a pretty short framework, because personally, the past few months has been like really long to me. I don't know if it's because of so many events happening and so many changes and stuff, but back to what Ali said. I always believe one of Alex Hormozi's amazing quote, if you don't quit, then you can't lose in anything. So, and personally, if someone tells me that they're posting 5 times a week for every single day in the year and they're saying that they're not doing enough work, then oh my, bro, like that guy's standards are really high. It's really down to what standards you put and set for yourself in your life.
Kind of entrepreneurship, business, YouTubing, creating, writing type stuff. If you want to build a remarkable career doing what you love and being able to have location and time and kind of calendar freedom, that takes time, and it's not a thing that's going to happen in just 12 months or even necessarily 24 months or even necessarily 36 months. It's a thing that takes a long time, which is why if you can enjoy the journey along the way, which is the whole message of feel-good productivity, then you don't really care about how long it takes because you're having fun along the way and you're working towards something that feels meaningful and you're hopefully helping people along the way, because obviously the only way to make money is to add value to the world and then to capture a small percentage of that value. As long as you're enjoying the process and enjoying the journey, that is the thing that brings fulfillment, rather than this destination of, I don't know, being a millionaire or a multimillionaire or whatever the thing is that you might be aspiring towards. On that note, while I was at this, I was in Cabo for the last few days, hanging out with these 6 other entrepreneurs. They were all way richer than I was, like at least 10 to 100 times wealthier than I am. And I had some great conversations around like money and happiness and fulfillment and what it means to sell your company. Like, how does it change your life when you sell your company for like $250 million or something absurd like that? And they all basically said that it doesn't really change your life at all because, like, fine, you might buy a nicer house, you might buy a nicer car, but it doesn't really change anything. And all of these guys who'd built and sold companies were way happier when they were working towards building than once they had sold. And every single one of them all decided to start another business, or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5, because they realized that was the thing that brought them fulfillment. And this was very, very reassuring to hear. Because, again, there's this idea that, like, I get emails from people and messages and stuff, and people seem to have this idea that you know, once you make it, then you will be happy. And yeah, of course, you know, when it comes to money, there is a point, you know, if you're struggling to pay the bills, then making enough money to pay the bills is like a huge level up in your happiness, because now you're not stressed all the time. But beyond that point, like, you know, having $1 million business or a 5 million business or a 10 million business or a 50 or 100 or $1 billion bit, like, these things are aspirational for a lot of entrepreneurs. But you have to realize that it's not actually going to make you any happier. It's not going to make you more fulfilled to have a bigger business. And in fact, the people who I know, and I know a lot of people who have big businesses, they say that they had the most fun and they were the most fulfilled when their business was much smaller, when they were working with people, you know, somewhere between 10 and 20 people, and it was like the good old days, and it's like we're a bunch of misfits and we're all working towards this thing. It's like those are the enjoyable and fulfilling and exhilarating times. And so if you are currently building something, it just comes down to this thing of what advice I would really tell my former self, my younger self, and I'm still trying to take to this day, and I think I did a reasonable job of appreciating this at the time as well, is that really the journey is the destination. It sounds so cliche, but when you speak to people who are literally richer, have more money than they could literally spend in their lives, and they are unhappy because they're not working on something interesting, and they say they were way happier building a business, it's like the journey is the destination. And so there's only one thing I can give you from this video, and give myself, because these videos in a way are kind of notes to myself, it's that, yeah, just gotta enjoy the journey, man.
For sure. I always believe that the journey is the destination. Like right now, just came back from experience week. I think it's been 3 weeks, and I kind of miss experience week already. You know, the experience, you know, like really not having to do many things, and just, you know, visiting different places with like different people and talking to them, and really just enjoying spending time with people. It's for sure something that I want to continue pursuing in the future of my life. And because when you reach a certain point in your life and you basically have enough money for your basic needs and stuff, right, like what's the point of like jumping from, let's just say, $5 million US to $10 million US? You're just basically like sacrificing your time to generate money, and money can't really transfer into experiences because you already have like so much money, so you don't really need that much money. So you're basically just wasting your time, which you could have used to gain more experiences and to really develop this relationship with your family, and also more experiences and do the stuff that you actually like doing.
That's literally all there is. I sound like one of these like spiritual, one of you pseudo guru type things, but I've recently been rereading The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. Great book. That's also about enjoying the present moment, enjoying the journey, and realizing the present moment is all there really is to this. Anyway, how did I get onto that topic? I got onto that topic because I was talking about the journey. Oh yeah, I was talking about the journey so far, and how this YouTube entrepreneur creative career is a long-term thing. Well, it's been a thing over the last like 7 years now. And it's okay. Wherever you are in the process, the biggest risk that you've got is to stop doing the thing. Whereas if you can just do a thing for like a very long time, there's basically no world in which you're not going to succeed at doing the thing. I remember there was is to stop doing the thing. Whereas if you can just do a thing for like a very long time, there's basically no world in which you're not going to succeed at doing the thing. I remember there was a great interview that I watched. MKBHD, Marcus Brownlee, the tech YouTuber, did an interview for Y Combinator. Y Combinator is this startup accelerator, if you're not familiar with it. And they asked, you know, what's the secret to your success and longevity and YouTube and stuff?
What would you attribute your success to on YouTube?
And he said, well, if you just do something for 10 years, then you're probably going to succeed at it. Like, pick something and then just do it for 10 years.
The channel itself, I mean, there's plenty of other successful tech channels, but it has its own unique style. It has a consistent voice. It's been me for 10 years.
Yeah.
So I guess just if you combine all those factors, consistency plus tech staying interesting, that's mainly it.
It's a great idea.
Yeah, nothing really new here, right? It's just always consistency is key. Just keep staying disciplined, you know, just keep doing whatever you like for the next 10 years. So no worries, I'm going to be here for the next 10 years.
There was this other talk I was watching from some guy who was giving a talk at, I think, Stanford Business School. And he's like this big shot investor. And his advice for living a asymmetrical life, or a kind of, you know, living life on your own terms, is to find something you enjoy and just do it for decades. And if you just find something you enjoy and do it for decades, there's literally no world in which you're not going to be successful at the thing, depending on how you define success at the thing. So a lot of my advice to myself, things that I like, are major lessons I've learned over the last few years and continue to try and appreciate to this day, is this idea of just doing the thing for a very long time. You know, I feel like I've been writing this book for a long time, but I've only been writing it for 3 years. This is also my first book. and I hope in the rest of my career to write way more books.
Again, I feel like one of the main reasons why some people decide not to do something that they like to do, like, you know, they're passionate about, is because probably their fear of failure. Like, I could see this within like so many people I talk to. They're either, number one, they don't really know what to do in life, so they don't want to find what they want to do in life. Or number two, they do know what they want to do, but then they're kind of scared to pursue that path because there's some kind of fear or something just holding them back. If you really want to be successful, then you have to define your goals really clearly and actually kind of know what you're going to do every single day at kind of like nearly every single moment, and really just align your goals to the schedule, right?
So easy to get fixated on like the stress of this one thing. Oh my god, like this book needs to be a success. This book needs to hit the bestseller list, or whatever the frick you want to, you know, your particular goal is. And it's so hard to remember that actually the long-term compounding journey is where all the gains are to be had, and also the journey is the destination anyway, so it doesn't really matter how things do. And just on this note, there was who sent this to me? I wish I could remember who sent this to me, but it was someone who I really respect. And they said something that, Ali, there is no achievement that you can possibly achieve that will make you any happier than you are right now. And I was like, damn, that's
interesting quote. I would say yes and no for this quote. It really depends on kind of where you are right now. But on one hand, you can kind of appreciate the stuff that you already have. But on the other hand, there's always going to be this desire of wanting to achieve more. I feel like trying to find the balance in between is going to be the most important.
so true. And this is probably true of you watching this as well. There is no achievement you could ever achieve that will make you any happier than you are now. Anyway, that was my opening remarks. The next thing I wanted to talk about was, I want to give a bit of an update as to how the business is going. Broadly, the business is going well, but okay, now I'm going to say like what's working and what's not working, or what's working and what's changing. So what's working is that we now have a team of 13 people, including me full time. We had a bunch of freelancers and stuff on top. Broadly, everyone on the team has settled into their roles. Most of the team have been with me now for over 2 years, which is pretty cool. And I've really seen this thing of like, the more someone settles into the role and into being part of the team and part of the company, the better they get at it. Because
that's actually one of the things that I'm really hoping to have probably in the next 5 years, 6 years, something, is to kind of have a team where you just stick around with them and, you know, discuss business and really just create a startup and, you know, go through everything with them and really develop this connection. So yeah, huge respect for Ali. I have actually a lot of respect for Ali for this point.
Because one of our core values is to always level up. Everyone on the team is constantly leveling up. But then also I am sort of leveling up as a leader. Angus is sort of leveling up as our CEO. We're all leveling up together as a team, which is great now because there's a lot less drama and like angst and anxiety now than there was like a year ago or 2 years ago or even 6 months ago. There's still a little bit of it because it's still a fairly small company and I change my mind on things quite a lot and that destabilizes the team. But broadly things are really good. And so advice I would give to my former self is that, again, it's about the long-term game here. When you hire people, recognize that the longer they stay with you, the better they'll be. It's like wine or something. Like the longer it stays there, the better it's going to be, or something to that effect. So that's the nice part of the business. The less nice part of the business is something I've been having an issue with over the last few months, maybe last few years. And that is... I'm gonna get some water. Also, I need to turn this air conditioning on.
Water break for me too, bro.
Oh yeah, we were talking about the less fun parts about this sort of business that I've got. Now, a few months ago, a close friend of mine had a bit of a health issue and a health scare. And it kind of made me realize that it kind of gave me this appreciation of mortality. Of like, you know, even if you're young and healthy, bad things can happen at pretty much any time. And, you know, hashtag YOLO and all that stuff. But seeing her go through this health issue gave me a newfound appreciation of mortality. And I came across a quote from the philosopher Alan Watts. And I've come across before, but sort of I revisited this. By the way, I talked about this in my email newsletter. If you haven't yet signed up, you might like to check it out. Abdaal.com/Sunday. I write an email every week to people around the world.
Love your
share with
emails.
us
Love your
online.
emails,
So
Ali,
that's
for
more-
watching.
That's a more like real-time version of what's been going on. But this Alan Watts quote was something to the effect of,
If you want to take full control of your sales pipeline, you need to try Monday CRM. It's given.
when people come to me for a version of what's been going on. But this Alan Watts quote was something to the effect of, when people come to me for advice about what to do with their life or their career, I ask them, what would you like to do if money were no object? How would you like to spend your time if money were no object? Once you figured out what that thing is, go and do that. Because A, you're going to have more fun and live a more fulfilled life because of it. But B, in this world, increasingly, money accrues to people who are doing things that they enjoy and doing it for a long time and doing it well. Or words to that effect. It was really that question of, what would you do if money were no object?
What would I do if money were no object? If money were no object, I would probably travel around the world because I want to meet new people and, talk to them. And I would probably spend less time on my business because, even though I know I'm, in the starting stages and probably not in the stages where it'll be more complex, it's already still getting a bit stressful. And if money were no object, I'll also probably, enjoy myself more and spend more time with nature, go camping, go hiking, play more sports like badminton and tennis. Yeah, that's basically what I can think of right now. Let's see Ali's response. Oh, one more thing. I will keep learning. Not because I have to, but because I actually enjoy learning things. Yeah, learning about new culture, learning about new philosophies and, listening to other people's advice and really respecting their, thoughts and stuff. And maybe taking into consideration to my life.
Started to think about a lot after this newfound appreciation of mortality. I really started to think, how would I actually choose to spend my time if I didn't care about making money? And I realized that I would continue doing what I'm currently doing, i.e. this YouTube stuff and this business stuff, and I would continue writing books and doing podcasts and stuff. But I would do all of it part-time. I would do all of it on my own terms. Now this is interesting. Well, I don't
Yep, on my own terms. Forgot to add that, but yep.
know if it's interesting to you, but it's interesting to me anyway. Back in the day, and I've told the story a bunch of times, so depending on how familiar you are with my stuff, you might have heard it before, but it's got a different conclusion. Back in the day, when I was working as a doctor and when I was a medical student before then, I would always, one of my favorite questions to ask other doctors, people who were senior to me and ahead of me in their careers, was
The lottery thing?
that, and also, if you won the lottery,
Yep.
would you still continue practicing medicine? And about half the people that I would ask would leave medicine completely, just leave, because they would do something else if they won the lottery. But the other half would continue to do medicine because it's fun, but they would go part-time. To be honest, I really enjoyed working as a doctor. It was quite fun. But it's not fun doing it for 6 days a week. It's not even fun doing it for 5 days a week. It would be really fun doing it for 1.5 to 2 to 3 days a week, something like that. So half the doctors that I would speak to would go part-time if given the choice, if given the option, if money were no object. And so then I would ask, what's stopping you from going part-time? And the answer would always be money. It'd be like, well, I've got the mortgage, I've got the kids in private school and stuff and stuff. And therefore, I cannot cut down my hours because I need to make.
It's actually the sad reality of many adults. I think in their 40s or 50s, they have no choice but to continue working because they have to pay their mortgages, and it's just sad sometimes when I think of it.
Make money. So back in the day, this was many years ago now, I thought, great, that's very eye-opening because it shows that the career that I'm in, the people who are ahead of me in their career, broadly either want to leave or want to go part-time. And the reason they're not going part-time is because of money. Therefore, I need to make money on the side so that if I continue to do medicine and when I continue to do medicine, I'd be doing it for fun and fulfillment rather than for the money. And then I got there. I made the money. I did the thing. Over a period of many, many, many years, I built a business that allowed me to make enough money to quit my day job. And then I focused on the business full-time. But now we're here. And if I ask myself that question, that if I won the lottery, if money were no object, how would I choose? Would I continue being a YouTuber? Would I continue doing this thing that I'm currently doing? And my answer is not, no, I'd leave completely. But my answer is actually, yes, but I would do it part-time. What does being a part-time YouTuber look like? This is ironically what I've been teaching my students for the last 3 years in my course, the Part-Time YouTuber Academy, because I built my YouTube channel as a part-time YouTuber, working a few hours a week on it. But now that I'm a full-time entrepreneur, where I work more than 60 hours a week, writing, making videos, doing stuff, working with a team, all this kind of
Crazy
stuff.
work ethics.
What does part-time look like? If I won the lottery, if money were no object, I would still make videos, but I would do them on my own terms. I wouldn't make a video because I felt like I had to. I wouldn't make a video because there's a sponsor deadline coming up. I'd never do sponsored videos ever again because why? I probably wouldn't bother releasing online courses because, like, what's the point? I mean, I'll just release them for free on YouTube, and then, you know, I'll do like seminars and stuff in real life because that's fun. But I would very much continue doing YouTube as a part-time thing. I would write future books, but I would not get a book deal until I've written the book, so that I don't have a deadline looming over me, because I don't like deadlines. Deadlines are not fun. I would continue doing what I'm doing, but I'd do it part-time. Maybe instead of 2 videos a week, I'll do, I don't know, one a week or one a month, or just, I would make a YouTube video when I felt like it, and when I felt called to do it, and when I felt like I genuinely had a message to share, rather than making a YouTube video because it's what the algorithm wants, and because consistency is good, and because sponsor deadline. I was like, God damn it. Like, this future that I've been chasing for the last 10 plus years, for the sake of having the freedom to do what I want, I now have the freedom to do what I want. And I've still like voluntarily put myself in a cage where I'm kind of doing things, not for the sheer joy of them, but often because of the money that's involved with them. So it was like, cool, what's stopping me from going part-time on YouTube? What's stopping me from just making videos when I feel like it and just speaking from the heart? And just like my doctor friends from back in the day, my answer is money. It comes back down to money. Whenever I think, oh, I'll cut down the upload schedule and make videos when I feel like it, or make videos about top...
My name is Ella. I'm used to just learning math head down and watch a lot of YouTube. Brilliant is
topics that resonate with me. The upload schedule and make videos when I feel like it. Or make videos about topics that resonate with me. I then think, oh, but what if the channel starts to decline? What if the sponsor revenue goes down? Oh, that's a lot of money we're missing out on the sponsors. You know, maybe I want to make a video like this. Maybe I feel authentically called to make a video about, I don't know, some spirituality books that I've been reading. Oh, but they won't get any views. You know, and I should just make a 10 productivity tips video because that's going to get the views. I should just make another video about how to make passive income because people fucking love that shit and that's going to get the views. The fact that I continue to chase money means that I make decisions that I wouldn't make if money were no object, by definition. And this realization really hit me like a ton of bricks. Once my friend had this health scare because I was like, am I really going to continue living like, you know, I've made more than enough money to sustain my basic needs. I can probably still continue to make reasonable amounts of money if I just made videos when I felt like it and wrote books on my own terms. So why am I chasing more money? What's going on there? And then that led to a whole like kind of soul searching about like scarcity and about self-worth and about status and about like, what if all of this comes crumbling down? Do I need even more millions in the bank to like freaking send the kids to school and like make sure my family's healthy and stuff?
Yeah, it's always fear. It's always fear that kind of stops you from doing something that you want.
And then I was speaking to another friend who has also incidentally sold a company for like over 100 million. And he said that he speaks to basically in the community of like post-exit founders. These are all people who've sold companies for like loads of money and now they don't need to work anymore. And one of his big realizations from speaking to other founders who have been through this is that basically that it's okay to leave money on the table. And often if you want to live a life that you genuinely love, that comes at the expense of making more money. It reminded me of something. I think this is a story from Aziz Ansari. I don't support Aziz Ansari for the record, but I think he was the one who told this story. It was about this musician, Frank Ocean, I think. And Aziz Ansari asks Frank Ocean at a party, he'd be like, hey man, how do you do this? How do you like make music when you feel like it? You're not like, your life's not screwed up.
I ran into Frank Ocean at a party, and I was like, Frank, how do you do it, man? You never do any press, you barely tour, and you only put out your music when you really want to. What's the secret?
And Frank Ocean replies with, easy.
He said, man, you just gotta be comfortable making less money, that's all.
Whatever position you are in life, we are all basically faced with the choice of, do we do a thing that will make us more money? Or do we do a thing that will help us enjoy life more? Now, it is very, very unusual to meet someone who is so perfectly aligned that like the things that they would genuinely do for fun are also the things that make them money in the most efficient way. It's just basically never going to be like that. Like For most people, there is a difference between what they're doing right now and what they would do if they didn't care about making money. And so we all have this trade-off in some ways. However much money you have, you could continue to do things to make more money, or you can be okay with making less money and you can do things that help you enjoy your life a bit more. This is what working part-time is about. Working part-time means you make less money because you're working part-time, but it means you probably enjoy your life a bit more because you have more time for your health and for your relationships and your family and for your home and for your kids and for your hobbies and all that fun stuff. You know, before you're at that point of financial freedom or financial security or confidence, whatever you want to call it, then you kind of have to choose the more money option. Like if you're working multiple jobs.
Yeah, genuinely, like something that you like to do, an interest of yours, really can't really align with the money making option. It's just sad how money is actually a thing in this world, because when you think back, our ancestors didn't really have a currency called money, right? Money wasn't here in the first place when humans were here. Like you can also say like technology is not here and stuff, but that's like, is our main point in this world really to earn money for your basic needs and really sacrifice like 10-20 years of your golden years just to do this so then you can fit your basic needs? Like you're probably saying, oh, of course, bro, this is so stupid and stuff, like of course you have to do this. But if you think back to history, I don't know, I don't always make references to history, but I always believe that, you know, this is the reason why we're here, right? If you think back to our ancestors, they didn't have money. They were humans that were kind to each other. They didn't need money because they were willing to share resources. Like money is a currency that helps you gain more resources. Imagine one day there was no such thing as money, like there was no currency money, like the world will probably go crazy. But what if people start to learn how to share just like our ancestors? It's just kind of sad that humans have become greedy little creatures who just care about themselves. But what if people start having a bit more compassion for each other? Then maybe there will be enough for everyone on the table.
To make ends meet for your family, you don't have an option of choosing to leave money on the table for the sake of your, I don't know, personal fulfillment or whatever, because your kids are going to starve, and you obviously don't want that. But then you get to the point where making more money is no longer about meeting your family's needs. It's about status, it's about power, it's about being able to buy the next freaking Tesla Model S or whatever the frick you're trying. It's about keeping up with the Joneses. It's about like, oh, I really want that country club, golf club membership that costs this much money, because if I don't, then I'm not going to be able to hang out with the people. And there's always that thing of like, you know, there comes a point where beyond which more money doesn't actually buy that much more happiness. It still continues to buy happiness, but like nowhere near as much. And a lot of us end up working for the sake of making money, but then the money that we make is not actually translating into more happiness for us. So why are we working for the sake of more money? This is something that this guy Bill Perkins wrote a book called Die with Zero, which is a very good book. And
Yeah, it's an amazing book. I highly recommend anyone who wants to kind of maximize their experience and change their ideology on finance and, you know, money to kind of read this book.
had the privilege of spending some time with him in Austin about 6 months ago. And one thing that he said is that rich people are some of the dumbest people in the world because they have convinced themselves that they, A, need to work to make more money, and B, that they actually enjoy working to make more money. Bill Perkins' whole philosophy is...
Interesting. Rich people are some of the dumbest people in the world because they have convinced themselves that they, A, need to make more money, and B, enjoy to work to make more money. I don't know. It's just interesting to see some people like having such huge respect to kind of like rich people because they're rich, but I always see it like, are they really successful? Like in your terms, in financial terms, they're successful, but in experiences and stuff, and like spending their life most like efficient to the point where they actually enjoy it, like are they really successful in those terms, right?
Is that the only point of money is to convert it into experiences and stuff that bring you and your family fulfillment and happiness and joy. But there are a lot of rich people who continue to work for money. There are a lot of people who just keep on working for money even though they don't need to anymore. Why do they do this? Bill Perkins says it's because they're dumbasses. And I said to him, like, what about people who enjoy their jobs? Surely if you enjoy your job, then it's okay to continue to work for money. And he was like, come on, that's BS. Like, an opium addict says that they enjoy opium. A heroin addict says they enjoy heroin. A money addict claims to enjoy their job. But really, if you claim to enjoy your job, is it really true that out of literally everything you could possibly be doing with your time, the thing that you would decide to do just randomly happens to be the thing that you are doing for a living? Really? Is that really how you want? Is that really true? And that
Again, like this question of if money were no object. I talked to some people like the past few days about like this question, and they will say, yes, I would continue staying in this job. And I just continue asking, and like, why? Like, if money were actually no object, would you be willing to work for free? And they will be like, no, I'll do nothing. If you're one of these person who would say you'll do nothing, I feel like it's probably because you haven't found your interest yet. And I don't ever believe that any humans on the planet have zero interest. There must be something that you're passionate about. There must be something that you're interested in doing. Like, no matter if you're like 60, no matter if you're 40, 30, like different season of your life, right? But there must be something that you actually enjoy doing and that you really want to do, but then it's because of society's pressure on you having to continue doing your work and, you know, having to make money for your family and for basic needs, which really hinders your opportunity to do this thing that you love. So if your answer is really like nothing, I'll do nothing, maybe you have to start rethinking of that.
That kind of got me thinking as well, because I enjoy this job. I enjoy making YouTube videos, it brings me fulfillment and joy and stuff. I enjoyed writing the book broadly, but in a world where money's no object, would I continue making 2 or 3 videos a week with sponsors on them? Would I continue cracking out an online course every now and then? Would I continue writing books on a faster cadence? Probably not. I'd probably be way more chill about it, because once you get to the point where you've got enough money to support your basic needs, at that point, it's okay to leave money on the table. And this is like a huge realization that I've come to after all this rambling and all these months of soul searching and thinking, talking about this and reading books about it and thinking about it. And it sounds like such a simple realization. It is okay to leave money on the table. It is okay to make less money for the sake of, I don't know, balance and fulfillment and happiness and physical health and mental health and relationships and family and hobbies. It's okay to make less money. And I mentioned this in my newsletter, and a bunch of people replied, and one of the people who replied is an entrepreneur called April Perry, who runs a blog business called Learn, Do, Become, and she shared a really nice email with me. She said, people always talk about leaving money on the table like it's a terrible thing. Why don't you sell another digital product? Why don't you do a mastermind? Why don't you sell physical products? But no one ever speaks about the mental and emotional costs associated with managing all of that. I think we need to shift our perspectives. Why are you leaving peace of mind on the table? Why are you leaving family time on the table? How about mental health and being enough with what you already have and do? How's your connection with God? What's the quality of your marriage? Can you just sit and just be? Can you laugh and sing and truly relax with loved ones? Can you look at your relationships and nature and all that God has given you and sit in awe for a moment? It doesn't have to be either or, but out of all that...
Mark me wrong. I was wrong there. Maybe just sitting there and just chilling out is something that you can actually do with money or nothing. I guess that's actually something.
If I have my family's financial needs covered, the first thing I'll leave on the table is money. And I just love this. I thought this was great. And again, coming back down to this health crisis, that really made me appreciate, like, whoa, shit, like, we only have one life. I really want to make sure that the things I'm doing are the things that I actually authentically want to be doing, rather than the things I'm doing for the sake of money. And so all of this basically helped me come to the realization that it is okay to leave money on the table, and therefore the decision I've made for my business moving forward is that I am now only going to film videos when I feel like it. Yeah. That might mean we reduce the frequency of uploads on the channel. Fair enough. It might mean the videos are going to be less attuned to maybe what most of the audience wants, because I realized that if I won the lottery, if money were no object, I would still continue to learn and teach and synthesize stuff and make videos about it, and I would do it on my own terms. I would make videos like this one, which is right now, I've been recording for 44 minutes. This is not a video that's going to go viral on the algorithm, and that people will have dropped off ages ago. I'm talking too much, and there's not enough editing, there's not enough shit going on. I haven't thought about retention, I haven't thought about the algorithm, I haven't thought about, like, let me make sure that there's, like, value, there's every second of this video is packed with value because I respect people's time and all that stuff. The timestamps are there because I do respect your time. But this is the sort of video I want to make. I want to learn things and then share the things that I've learned with people, because there's something really, really fun about it. This is what I would choose to do even if I wasn't concerned about making money. And so I want to do more videos like, maybe not necessarily like a long, hour-long, drawn-out, completely unsophisticated rant. I still like the idea of teaching. I like the idea of doing live events and doing workshops and seminars and stuff and lectures. So we're going to do that in 2024. Planning to come to various cities around the world and do a little feel-good productivity lecture tour, because that seems cool. It seems fun. I would do it even if it didn't make any money. And so I've said to my team that I get to film whatever I want, whenever I want, because I'm a diva, and I want to have basically nothing on my calendar, and I want to kind of limit the amount of time I spend on the business and business operations to about 3 hours a week. in those 3 hours, I'm happy to do stuff. But beyond that, I want to have the freedom to learn more stuff and make videos about it when I feel like it. And it probably means we're going to make less money as a business. But that's fine. That's okay. I am now officially okay with leaving money on the table. And this is like my public pledge to anyone who's still watching this far in the video, that is where I want to go and that is what I want to do. It's okay to leave money on the table. Having said that, there's still part of me that wants to grow the business, because why not? It's a fun thing to do. But basically, there's two strands now of growing the business. Number one is flexibility of output, so I can film whatever I want, whenever I want, and we have no upload schedule, and we'll just see what happens. And number two, if we can build assets that can help people and make money without being reliant on me, then that is great. For example, we have a product called the Part-Time YouTuber Accelerator, which is like a $5,000 a year service that helps people grow their YouTube channels. And the only...
Point number two is actually a really interesting one, because I read a few books like MD DeMarco's Millionaire Fastlane, and he talks about how there are actually ways of making money in life where it just kind of compounds. There are for sure ways where you can kind of like grind out for like, I don't know, 1, 2 years, 3 years or something, but really put a whole lot of effort, which can be probably like building a software which can generate you like automatically generate you money with kind of like low input. Or another thing is probably like e-commerce, right? Like e-commerce is for sure something that can generate you passive income, right? So the idea of having passive income is actually true. If you do have passive income, you can kind of sacrifice 2 to 3 years building something, and then after that you have to just like maintain it sometimes. Again, there's always this fear that this whole entire thing doesn't really work out.
Any time that requires from me is like 2 hours a month to do a live Q&A, which I enjoy doing anyway. All of the rest of the customer support and helping people along with their YouTube channels is handled by the team. And my team are amazing. And they do office hours every week, and it's great vibes. And we have support groups and stuff. But crucially, I don't need to be involved with any of that, which means it's a thing that I'm happy for us to continue doing. But if that required more and more time for me, and I didn't enjoy the time that I spent replying to emails and stuff, I just wouldn't do it. It makes a load of money. It helps a lot of people, but I would not do it if it is doing something that I wouldn't choose to do anyway if money were no object, kind of thing. Final thing I want to talk about is the book. So we launched our pre-order campaign in like July or June, I can't even remember when. Maybe it was towards the end of June, and we got a bunch of pre-orders. And we've kind of very casually been mentioning the book in like videos and stuff and holding it up and things. Haven't really mentioned it that much on socials. But then like 1 or 2 weeks before it gets published, so it's probably around mid-December, then we're going to do like a harder push on social media for book sales. But this has been interesting because currently we're actually not on track in terms of hardback America pre-orders to hit the New York Times bestseller list. And the New York Times bestseller list is like a thing that was always in the back of my mind. It's like, oh, it'd be really cool to hit the New York Times bestseller list with the book. And we're currently not on track to do it. Maybe we will, maybe we won't. People say that. I think we've got like 4,000 something pre-orders at the time of recording this. We need like 12,000. So we need another 8,000 people to pre-order the hardback copy of the book in the US. Kind of annoying that it's hardback only. There's one of the lists like ebook as well, but like basically we're a little short of where we kind of want to be in order to hit the list. And this has been interesting. This has been a really good exercise in detachment and ego and stuff. Because if this book does not hit the New York Times list, I will be disappointed, because it is a goal that I've had. And I know it'll be kind of good for my soul to be disappointed about this, because I haven't really had any failures as such in the last several years of my life. And then it's sort of like, well, I kind of know what we need to do to hit the New York Times list. And I've spoken to a bunch of authors who've done it, and they all basically say you should just go on more big podcasts and stuff. You know, there's a bunch of big podcasts that really help when it comes to book sales. But I haven't tried very hard to get interviewed on them. Partly it's because it doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel authentic to reach out to someone and be like, hey man, can I come on your podcast? Because there's like a lot of these big podcasters, I actually just want to get to know them and want to be their friends because we're in similar industries and it's just cool to get to know them. But I do not want my first interaction with a lot of them to be, hey man, can I come on your podcast? Because that's not the one. That's not the vibe. But then I'm like, is it just that I have a fear of asking, like, what does asking really cost you? Like, you know, am I just afraid to send a WhatsApp message or an email? Because I have a lot of their numbers. There's a WhatsApp group that I'm part of that has like loads of big podcasters in it. So I could actually message them on WhatsApp and be like, hey man, can I come on your podcast? I don't want to do that. Like that's just not... Like, with all these kind of, like, work relationships and stuff, I care a lot more that, A, I am providing way more value than I'm taking, and B, that we actually become friends if we vibe, than I do about getting something out of the arrangement. But that does mean that probably we'll get less sales, less pre-orders, then we need to hit the New York Times list. The other thing we could do to hit the New York Times list, I mean, maybe just like spam more content across socials to be like, hey, pre-order the book, pre-order the book, pre-order the book. Again, I don't really want to do that. Like, you know, sure, we'll do it like a week or two before publication to kind of really remind people that guys, please pre-order the book. But do I want to do a whole like freaking 6 month long pre-order campaign where it's like, not really, it's not that classy. It's like if people want to buy the book, they buy the book. Want to pre-order the pre-order. If they don't, they won't. Like, that's fine. Again, choosing to leave book sales on the table, putting less effort than I could in terms of doing stuff to hit the New York Times list, just because I don't want to. It doesn't feel good. It doesn't seem authentic. Maybe it's just because I'm scared. And I don't think it's that. I think it's genuinely this authenticity piece. Like I don't want to do stuff that feels bad, even if it results in more sales or more profit or more revenue, all that kind of stuff. This is a feel-good business at the end of the day. That's what part of the book was called Feel-Good Productivity. It's like, what?
Okay, something interesting just came up in my brain, right? So, like, Ali talks about how, like, you know, you don't want to push more sales and stuff, and you just want to make it flow naturally, and, you know, let the algorithms of YouTube kind of like, you don't want to let the algorithms of YouTube kind of control what you're gonna like post for your thumbnails and stuff. But like, interestingly, like, you can also think about it in like the other way, right? Because if you do push it to more people, it means that you're kind of like impacting more people, right? More people can see your content, which means that even though you're going to be like generating more money and you're going to be putting more work, technically you're still kind of like helping more people. You're kind of like fulfilling your purpose in like a bigger sense, if your purpose is to teach more people, right? So I'm gonna just let the video continue, just 5 more minutes, and I'll be ending it with a bit of some of my thoughts and stuff. So
what's the point of doing a thing if you feel slimy once you've done the thing? So that'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see how the book does. Being published on the 26th of December 2023 in the US and the 28th everywhere else in the world. We've gotten translation deals from like 15 different countries, which is absolutely freaking absurd. So like, publishers around the world are translating the random crap that I've written. I don't think it's random crap. I actually think it's pretty. I recorded the audiobook a couple of months ago, and as I was reading it, like properly cover to cover, I was thinking to myself, oh, this is actually not bad. And there were so many bits of the book where I was like, damn, I need to take my own advice. Because it's easy to give advice to other people, and it's easy to write advice in a book. Especially the final 3 chapters are all about burnout and how to align what you're doing with where you actually want to go, and how to take breaks appropriately and stuff like that. And I just realized I just wasn't doing any of that stuff, even though I know that it's a good thing to do, and I've literally written a book advising people to do that. But as I was recording the audiobook, it kind of got me thinking, oh crap, yeah, I need to apply some of these experiments into my life. But that's also similar to my point previously, which is that leaving money on the table, like hitting the New York Times list, is like a good thing for prestige and stuff. More book sales are good for more money and stuff. But like, I just don't want to do things that I don't want to do. It sounds weird to say. I don't want to do things that don't feel good or that don't feel authentic, and that probably means I'll have a smaller business than other people, and probably will sell less books than other people might. But that's okay. It's fine. Maybe I'm just trying to. Part of this is a bit of a personal therapy session because I like talking to the camera like this, and a lot of this is sort of me thinking out loud and trying to. Am I just trying to convince myself? I don't think so. I've been thinking about this stuff for a while. I always land on that conclusion that like, there's just no point in doing something if it doesn't feel good. Yeah, broadly, that's where things are changing. So my life is changing because I'm doing this digital nomad travel the world experiment thing, and my business is changing because I've now created a constraint, very intentionally, that I will only film stuff when I feel like it. I will film whatever I want, whenever I want, and I will have basically nothing on my calendar that I don't want to have on my calendar. And I'm very grateful to my amazing team for kind of rolling with the punches on that front, because actually me only wanting to film whatever I want whenever I want does mean that actually quite a few people in the team can't do their jobs that effectively, because their jobs kind of rely on me filming stuff or doing podcasts or like recording social media bits and bobs. I've decided I just don't want to do a lot of that stuff anymore, and I'll do it on my own terms. And so everyone on the team is doing a good job of rolling with that and trying to figure out ways to continue to make cool stuff that maybe is decorrelated from whether I choose to film or not on a given day. And so the team is doing a great job of holding it together. And then the final thing I wanted to say is just like, I've been doing this YouTube thing now for nearly 7 years. From June
crazy,
2017. And a lot of the people that follow me now are not the people that followed me then, but there are still some people who have been watching the content fairly regularly for years. And so however long you've been following the journey for, I just wanted to say a massive thank you. Like, these are all friggin' influencers always do this, like, oh my god, thank you so much to my fans and all that crap. But like, genuinely, I am living a life that I absolutely love, thanks to you guys supporting.
Nah, Ali, bro, like, thank you, bro. Like I cannot tell, like, I'm probably just one of the many people, but we cannot tell you how much you have impacted our lives with, you know, like, improving with productivity, and like, it's just another perspective. So just thank you for like kind of like putting all the effort and stuff, right? So
supporting the channel and watching the videos and getting value from them, and like some of you buying the courses and stuff, which means I can like travel the world for a year or longer. I can basically travel the world forever, you know, just filming videos when I feel like it. And that's my job. That's insane. It's absolutely mental. Thanks to the fact that you guys follow my stuff, I got a book deal with Penguin and Macmillan, huge publishers, to write a freaking book. And it's now done. It's going to be out. And it's legit. It's actually good. I think it's actually good.
now always believe it, right? If you put kindness into the world, then your kindness will come back to you one day.
And that's just so cool. Like, when I started this YouTube channel in 2017, I had literally no idea that I could even vaguely come close to approaching what this channel has done. And yeah, I just love this shit. It's just so fun. And so the plan for 2024 is to do more live events. I'd love to do a lecture tour. We're not planning to make any money from that. If it breaks even, I'll be happy. If it loses money, a bit of money, I'll be like, okay, whatever. But I just love the idea of being able to continue to read, learn, share, apply stuff to my life, synthesize it, and then make videos about it, and write future books about it, and do podcast episodes with cool people. And all of that is continuing. But I just want to now do it on my own terms, because I've realized that that's more of a recipe for personal fulfillment. And I hope that I can continue to share what I'm learning along the way. And if you want to follow the journey along the way, great. If not, that is also totally fine. And yeah, just wanted to say thank you for all the amazing things that you guys have done for me over the years. And yeah, I will see you around.
If you're still watching this video, this is crazy, because I think we're already a bit over 1 hour long, and I guess now it's probably my personal therapy session time. I'll try and keep this quick, as I know your time is pretty valuable, and it's been 1 hour and I'm getting a bit exhausted too. But I feel like one of the main reasons why I make this video is because I feel like this is something for my future self to kind of like look back and watch, because this has been one of the most valuable YouTube video I've probably like watched about, like, you know, personal philosophy and stuff. Personally, it's really interesting to think about this like before you're kind of like successful, because you probably like view things really differently. I just still kind of can't believe some of the things that Ali says right now, because you haven't kind of experienced it. So I guess you really have to experience some stuff. Like, moving forward, I personally think that I do, like, on one hand have to kind of just like keep putting in the effort and like keep sacrificing stuff, and like I feel like that's a really necessary and important part for like anyone's success and stuff. But one of the things that I think would be better to do is, instead of kind of like grinding for like a whole year straight, not taking a single break, I feel like it's better to kind of like separate in different sections of your entire year, right? So probably like for the first 5 to 6 weeks, you kind of like 100% focus fully on doing whatever you do. And after that 5 to 6 weeks, you probably take like a 1 week break. So then you kind of avoid this burnout, which Ali kind of explains, which he kind of like faces along his journey to success. And this whole concept of money and like basic needs is like, on one hand, I like kind of know some people like who are kind of doing their job while having like their basic needs all settled down, but kind of like also enjoying their job. Like, and probably like if they don't have the job, they'll probably still do the job. So for example, probably like being a tour guide, right? Like, if a person really likes to talk to new people, meet new people, and like, you know, go to different places. Like, if you work in a tour guide company, then probably you'll be kind of happy because you kind of got your basic needs met, and you really get to do something that you're passionate about. So there are actually like some jobs and stuff that are like, you know, kind of, you know, fit the basic need criteria and the job criteria and like the passion criteria, you think of it. I'm still a 15-year-old kid. I would say I'm a kid still, and I really don't have much experience with everything. So I don't know, like, it's all interesting, it's all confusing, and it's all a bit too much to take into my brain. But I feel you actually gotta like experience it before you can kind of reflect on it. So I guess the main key takeaway of this entire video is keep doing what you like to do, and if you don't quit, then you cannot lose. Maybe future self, oh, this is kind of cringe, but future self, for watching this and you're kind of, you know, when you're successful and stuff, like to anyone who's successful out there kind of watching this, it might be actually a good idea to kind of reconsider your life and like start thinking of alternatives rather than just grinding the rest of your life to achieve more money for more status, because is that really what you want to do? Yeah, I'm very excited to see what type of videos other content creators can also post, not only Ali. But yeah, if you actually enjoyed these reaction type videos, just please let me know in the comments, as maybe it's another thing for me to try out, right? So yep, until next time, peace.